would share the slide deck, I would appreciate that, and we'll move forward. Thank you. Next slide. Keep in mind, if you're having trouble, there's a number there on the screen for you to call to get some assistance. Next slide. All right, today, a brief meeting, but we thought it important to make sure we reconnect and to restart our public-facing meetings where the community has an opportunity to lean in to issues related to this project. We're going to have an opportunity for public comment. Then we're going to give you some wonderful project updates and then next steps as we move forward. Next slide, please. You all should know these. Your voice matters. I've come to know many of you all, and I trust that you will be authentic and genuine and speak passionately regarding the community and the issues and project areas that we need your insight on. We ask you to continue to listen for understanding. As we have witnessed, this is a very passionate project, a subject around restorative efforts, economic improvement and advancement for a community that was traumatized and raised. And we're so excited that our partners at the city as well as ODOT has taken this opportunity to acknowledge and to elevate that value. We ask you to deal with issues and not people. We realize with that you may experience some discomfort. Again, I will stress we do not grow when we are comfortable. So thank you for continuing to remain respectfully engaged. And we will not solve everything today. Each day is a step forward. So we ask you to expect and accept non-closure as we work through these items together. Next slide, please. At this point, I don't know if we have community members in the virtual space, but we want to give an opportunity if there are for public comment. So I am going to pass to my colleague, Natalie, who will help us through the public comment period.
Thank you, Erica. We do not have any community members in the space at this time, but I will just go through the process. Members of the public who are viewing the meeting on the live stream are invited into the virtual space to make verbal public comment by phone at this time. And if you wish to do so, please dial the phone number shown on the slide. And when prompted, enter the meeting ID and passcode. After doing so, you will be placed in a virtual waiting room until your turn to speak. And then when the time comes, we'll invite you to unmute yourself and say your comment. Commenters will have up to 2 minutes and then will be muted at time. And we'd like to remind you, if you'd like to provide more extensive comments to members of the HAAB, please see the options that are listed on the meeting agenda. And we received one public comment in advance of this meeting that was shared with the HAAB members, as Erica mentioned earlier. If you're joining us on the live stream, please remember to mute your speakers while you are talking to minimize feedback. And with that, I'm going back to our waiting room to see if there's anyone in the queue, and I'm not seeing anyone, Erica.
Great. Thank you so much, Natalie. We appreciate that. If you'll move to the next slide for us, I'll just briefly share. I've had a few messages this afternoon from HAAB members who are stuck with delayed flights and dealing with some health issues today. So 3 or 4 HAAB members won't be present with us today, but have sent their regards to their colleagues. I also want to share briefly, we are in the process of working to add some additional professional lenses with key stakeholders to this advisory body. So we're excited about the opportunity to expand and bring more and additional expertise to those that we have currently serving that will complement the great work that those who have been invested for so many years will complement and help us to move this project forward collaboratively. So wanted to give you an update there. and I will turn it over to our very capable project director, Ms. Megan Channel.
Thanks, Erica, and good afternoon, HAAB. It's awesome to be back with you in a kind of formal HAAB setting. I've got a couple updates today. The first two, just an update on the supplemental environmental assessment and the design refinements. A lot of that goes together. So I'll do kind of those two first, pause, and then round out with an update on how we get y'all paid. So with that, starting just kind of with an update on the supplemental environmental assessment. So kind of a refresher, we're in the middle of our supplemental environmental assessment process. This kicked off kind of back at the end of 2021 when we got the direction from the Oregon Transportation Commission to advance Hybrid 3. The supplemental environmental assessment was then conducted, analysis done around Hybrid 3 and published in November for a 50-day public comment period. That comment period then closed in early January. And so within the process where we are right now is reviewing all 921 public comments that were received and looking at those. So the process includes us reviewing all of the comments, capturing those sort of in themes. And then what we'll be doing is responding to sort of those summary level or thematic level comments as we go forward. Some of the key themes that have sort of come up during this are, some questions just around highway and local street congestion, along with, questions around multimodal safety and specifically pedestrian safety, where the ramp terminals intersect with the local street system. There's a lot of interest in community character, kind of the questions around the highway cover design and what's going to go on top. We still have questions, around some of air quality findings, and then there's a lot of support for the project's highway cover. So those are some of the kind of broader key themes that we're working through. So again, as I said, addressing those sort of at that thematic or summary level, and then we'll be drafting as part of the supplemental environmental assessment, what we call a comment summary report, which also then includes the responses to those comments. And so all of this is done really under the process with our partners at the Federal Highway Administration. So working through with them on that process and this tees into the design refinement update as well, with the comments that we received on the supplemental environmental assessments. In addition to providing the comment responses, we also are identifying what updates do we need to make to some of the analyses, or what design refinements do we need to make as part of the project to be responsive to those comments. And so, as you know, we did have a process with some key stakeholders, yourselves included, RIP City Management, the city and Metro, and Albino Vision Trust, to kind of work through some of the design refinements to address pedestrian safety concerns, event management concerns, as well as kind of just broader district character, kind of how the transportation improvements here intersect with the development potential of the future. We held a number of sort of policy level as well as technical workshops between kind of November and now to kind of work through the concerns, work through potential design refinements. And I wanted to report that as part of that process, there was a final meeting of the principal group last week that really solidified all of the parties' desires to move forward and work together and collaborate on a solution to address, again, the concerns that we were hearing around pedestrian safety, event management, and district character. And so that principal process has concluded with kind of the affirmation of support for moving forward. And so now as we work through kind of the exact design refinements and what will be incorporated into the supplemental environmental assessment, that process is really kind of returning to the project with the intention and being here with you today of really recentering the Historic Albina Advisory Board as the community voice and helping us work through those design refinements, as you have been over the past couple of months as well. And so, those design refinements that we are looking at, include a reincorporation of the pedestrian bicycle bridge that would cross over I-5, as well as the kind of the ramp intersections, the relocation of the southbound ramp from the hybrid 3 design, sort of how that ramp consolidation intersects with the local street system. So you've got my commitment, you've got the project commitment. We're going to keep working with the HAAB as we finalize those design refinements into the supplemental environmental assessment. And so kind of going back to process with the supplemental environmental assessment, what this means is we'll need to take that time to make sure that we're doing that technical evaluation of the final design refinements with the hope of having the completed environmental review process kind of by the end of this year, if not sooner, in partnership with our Federal Highway Administration. So wanted to just update you on that process and how it relates to the environmental work. So I'm going to pause there and see if there are any questions.
Great space. Any thoughts, comments, or questions from HAAB members regarding the SEA process or what Megan shared in regards to the design refinement conversations? It's unusually quiet. Seeing none, Megan, I know you have one more area to update this group about.
I do. And before I jump to that other area, I just want to give a huge thank you to the HAAB members, each and every one of you that have participated with us in these kind of design refinement conversations. I know that's kind of been above and beyond the work that you signed up for relative to meeting in these HAAB meetings, but really appreciate the expertise that you brought and the community voice that you brought to that process. So I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you as we move this forward. And moving on from that, so our equitable compensation program within ODOT, that's EECP. This is the process for how we pay our HAAB members. And just another thank you to all the HAAB members for your patience and your grace as we've moved through this process. I know that it got off to a very clunky start. I feel like we're starting to hit a better process on this and roll with our HAAB members. So thank you for putting up with us. But I just want to note that payments have gone out to the board members who elected to receive gift cards kind of for the last payment. And I know that a few of you have opted to wait for your most recent payment until checks can be issued in lieu of the gift cards. And so for those that did receive their gift cards, your payments really covered through March of 2023. And then for those of you that are waiting, we'll make sure that your checks cover that payment through March of 23. We are working with our partners within ODOT at our Office of Equity and Civil Rights. They're very close to getting us set to have the check option available. So moving forward, post March 2023 payments, you won't even have to ask about gift cards. We're just going to be doing checks as we go forward. So I hope that makes it a whole lot easier for each and every one of you. And then the next round of payments that we'll be making will be in late June. And then from June, we'll be resuming quarterly payments as we go forward. So again, just want to say thanks again for putting up with us as we work through this new process, and we can always do better. So if you've got any further feedback on that process, happy happy to hear that feedback and see how we can continue to improve. But wanted to make sure that we had that update today. So that concludes my formal project updates, and happy to answer any questions on this or any other you've got.
Thoughts or questions from HAAB members regarding any of the project updates, the SCA, design refinements, or the EECP process? Seeing no hands.
Oh, just 1 second. Just 1 second.
Yes,
Hey, just 1 second. Hey, Megan, I just want to say, I appreciate the opportunity for the changes in payments. I personally have not had any issues with the cards or the whatever they're called, the online digital card. I know other people have had difficulties, and I appreciate you all being willing to do a different type of payment. I used the first batch for my trip to Florida last September. And so that was money that I did not have to spend out of my own pocket, because I had those 4 vanilla gift cards on my phone, and they did come in handy. So I just thank you so much for the work you guys have done on this. And I appreciate the payments. I would do it even without it. So, but it is nice to have that little extra cash for things like, new shoes or a bag or something. So thank you.
Totally. I appreciate that feedback, Leslie. And, you and HAAB members, you're our community consultants. Like you definitely deserve these payments. And I'm glad that we're able to offer them. I'm glad that the gift cards presented no issues for you, and hope the checks are even easier for those new shoes and purses and all the things.
Yes, we want to make sure that we are honoring your expertise in this area, and hopefully there will be some thought to what that means. But again, as Megan stressed, you all are consulting the project in this area. Your professional experience, your personal experience is valuable to this project. And so we wanted to make sure that the project was accountable to addressing concerns that some of you offered. And yes, thank you, Megan, and to Erica McAlpin, who has stepped in at ODOT and who is working diligently to make sure that we are responsive to your concerns. Any other thoughts or comments? I wasn't sure. I thought I saw a hand, not sure. Sometimes it's hard to see the entire screen. Ms. Natalie, if you'll share the slide deck once again for next steps. I want to begin by saying it is really exciting to have our city partners with us, working side by side and collaboratively around what is possible and feasible in regards to these wonderful designed and proposed highway covers. We are working with the architecture and engineering team and the urban design team to give design refinements that meet everyone's needs. So we appreciate, as Megan said, all of the extra effort because we realize this is really important that we're setting a foundation for generations to come. And so as we move forward, we will continue to leverage kind of the model of the design collaboration forums, where we can dive deeper into some details and then bring it back to this full body in our main meeting. So look forward to those resurfacing on your calendars. We are also looking forward to more in-person engagement. I am grateful for the online platforms that allowed us to continue to do business during the pandemic. But it is such a nice switch to be able to engage in person and to work through some of these really, really important issues. I know that in our agenda that we sent out earlier, our city partners were going to have an opportunity to kind of dive a bit more into who they are and how their roles at the city relate to the work that we're doing on this project, but they had a few folks who were unable to participate today. And so we wanted to make sure that we utilized your time in the best manner, that we were respectful of it. And so we look forward to our partners engaging with us over the next months as we work through that. And you all see the intersection of urban design and planning and how we come together on that. Ms. Leslie, I see your hand.
Yeah, I just have request, as we're
Yes.
going to be meeting in person, and this is just for me, I'm gonna speak for myself because the city's going back to the office time. And if we're going to be meeting in person, if we could get that notification sooner, as now I'll need to include travel time
Yes.
to get to the space. And
Yes.
you know, right now with virtual, I can book up until, 30 seconds before, because that's the life we're now living.
Yes.
And I have to try to retrain myself to include travel time, even if it's just travel from one conference room to another conference room. But it would be helpful if, we get a couple weeks notice so that I can make sure I do that. So just the ask.
Absolutely. Very, very reasonable. Thank you for putting that back in front of us. We will continue to provide that kind of hybrid option as we realize the pandemic workflow has pushed us away from allowing for some of those. And there are things that come up. So yeah, thank you. We'll definitely keep that at the forefront to make sure we update you well in advance of our in-person meetings. And we're also, as this group expands and with the addition of our city partners, there may be opportunities for us to meet in other locations than the project office that might provide some larger spaces. So we'll be working with the leadership team to identify that with our city partners as we work through the CFA process, and we'll make sure to notify you all with a reasonable lead time. So as we work through these continued design refinements, then as Megan stated, there will be a document to the federal highway partners, and we're moving towards a decision document. Hopefully that will get some of our DBEs and a minority workforce to work as we begin the start of the project. We will be working very closely with our partners at PPOT and the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability in regards to progressing the highway cover design and planning. We'll be engaging with you all as our primary community advisors, but also with some of the broadened community around identifying, verifying some of the work that we've done initially with the independent cover assessment team around needs, and dig deeper into that highway cover design in the very, very soon and close coming months. And then advancing early work package designs, and that's about getting folks to work as we have on this project in partnership with the COAC, the Community Oversight Advisory Committee, hoping and making sure that there's accountability around advancing opportunities for minority business enterprises, women-owned business, and companies of color, building capacity for our workforce and restoring some economic opportunity to our community. With that, are there questions, input, any other thoughts? Again, it's a short meeting today, but we thought it would be important to connect with you all, to keep our cadence, and to move back into the public space. Again, be on the lookout for calendar invites for the design collaboration forums, as well as notifications for our regular HAAB meetings and whether or not we'll have an in-person option for those touch points. Megan, any further comments, thoughts?
I think you've covered it all, Erica. I appreciate it.
Indeed. HAAB members, any last thoughts or questions?
I don't have any, Erica. Thank you.
Thank you. So good to hear your voice. Andrew, I saw you, your camera. Okay, good to see your face. Well, with that, that is a meeting for the record books, okay, with 31 minutes. Again, I just want to say that I appreciate the investment. I realize that many of you who are serving serve in so many other capacities in this community and helping to push equity and inclusion forward. So thank you. This is a quirky process because we haven't done business like this before. So we thank you. We appreciate you. I ask for your patience as we work through and for the accountability. Please continue to hold this project team accountable to the work that we're doing. And I look forward to our one-on-one conversations as well as our next meeting together. Dr. Holt, can you close us out today?
If I can get my phone to cooperate and actually unmute, absolutely, I'd love to. Great meeting. Thank you, Erica, for your continued leadership in this space and facilitating with the elegance and the excellence that you bring to the table. So we appreciate that. I want to remind us of two things as we're wrapping up the process we've been in and then getting ready for the next process. Again, appreciating the work that the HAAB is doing. I can't remember whose term, it might have been yours, Erica, clunky, that the process has been clunky. Change always is. Change rarely looks great in the middle of change. If you were to stop, like right now, we're in the midst of a remodeling process on our home. And if you were to stop right now and consider that this is the finished product, it would look like a mess. We've got areas where there are no walls, we have no floors, we have no drywall, we have no lights. It is an ugly process. But I believe that as we continue to go forward in this remodel, it will look radically different in time. Part of the clunkiness has been what transpired in the departure of some partners and now the return of partners. Part of the clunkiness is just that we're doing business differently. Part of the clunkiness is with all of the political pressure that's going on around us and the questions about the project. But I appreciate everyone being willing to lean in and being willing to be uncomfortable and being willing to risk and being willing to look maybe a little questionable for a while. But if we'll stick it out, we'll be amazed at what comes out of it. So all of us are leaning in. Those who are staff, as my phone slips out of my hand, those who are staff and those who are volunteers and those who are committed, thank you. Thanks for being willing to be clunky, being willing to be uncomfortable, being willing to feel strange for a while. But if we'll stay with it, and I believe we're better than we've ever been, and we're in a better position we've ever been, if we'll stay with it, we're going to see something amazing that will bless generations. And that's why we're doing it. It's not for us. It's for those who will come after us. And if we do this right, if we walk to do this right, we'll be glad we didn't run and get it wrong. So have a good night, everybody. Appreciate your work and your time and your effort. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Good night, everybody.
Night, thank you.